Lucas was an 18-year-old young man who was always curious and full of dreams. He lived in a small town and loved learning about new places and cultures. One of his biggest dreams was to visit London, the famous capital of England. He wanted to see Big Ben, walk across Tower Bridge, and explore the old castles and museums of the city. Lucas loved watching movies and reading about London, but he knew that to make this dream come true, he needed to learn English. One day, Lucas decided he wouldn't just dream anymore. "I want to really go to London," he said to himself. "But first, I need to learn to speak English." He knew that learning English would not be easy, but he was determined to try. Lucas enrolled in a language school near his home and started his English classes the following week. On the first day of class, Lucas was excited but also nervous. He sat in the classroom with other students, all looking as anxious as he was. The teacher, Mr. Brown, was a friendly man who began the class with a warm smile. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we begin our journey to learn English," said Mr. Brown. Lucas knew a few words in English, but hearing the teacher speak so fast made him a little scared. As Mr. Brown continued to explain the importance of learning English, Lucas looked around the room. He saw that some students were understanding well, but others, like him, seemed a little lost. Lucas decided he would not give up. "I need to learn," he thought. "I need to go to London." In the first few weeks of class, Lucas realized that learning English was harder than he had imagined. He was having trouble with vocabulary and pronunciation. Simple words like thought and though seemed the same to him, but the sound was completely different. He got confused with the grammar rules and was afraid to speak out loud in class, fearing he would make mistakes. One day, the teacher, Mr. Brown, asked the students to read a text out loud. Lucas started to sweat. He knew that, at some point, it would be his turn. When it finally came, his voice trembled, and he stumbled over several words. He felt his face grow hot with embarrassment. Some classmates smiled, but others encouraged him with supportive looks. After class, Lucas felt discouraged. He thought about giving up, thinking he would never be able to speak English correctly. But when he got home, his mother encouraged him. "Lucas, everything new is hard at the beginning," she said. "You just need practice and patience. Remember your dream of going to London." Those words made Lucas think. He decided he would not let the fear of making mistakes stop his progress. The next day, he committed to practicing every day, even if it was just for a few minutes. He knew the road would be long, but he was determined to keep going. Lucas realized that if he wanted to improve his English, he needed to practice every day. He created a simple study plan: 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of listening, and 20 minutes of speaking. He knew that consistency was key. So, every morning, he read short stories in English. In the afternoon, he watched videos and listened to podcasts to train his ear. And in the evening, he repeated sentences in front of the mirror, trying to improve his pronunciation. At first, Lucas still made many mistakes, but he noticed that he was starting to understand more words and phrases. He also started using language apps on his phone to learn new words every day. Over time, he began to feel more confident. "I am improving," he thought, seeing his progress. One day, Lucas met an English lady in the park who was lost. He approached her and, with a bit of courage, asked, "Can I help you?" She smiled and explained that she was looking for a cafe. Lucas managed to understand most of what she said and showed her the way. They talked for a few minutes, and he was surprised to realize that he had been able to have a simple conversation in English. After this experience, Lucas felt even more motivated. He realized that daily practice was making a difference and that his dream of visiting London was becoming more and more possible. At the English school, Lucas began to make new friends who were also learning the language. There was Anna, who wanted to learn English to get a better job, Miguel, who dreamed of studying at a university abroad, and Sophia, who loved traveling and wanted to see the world. Each one had their reasons, but they all had something in common: the desire to learn. They formed a study group and met twice a week to practice together. Anna helped Lucas understand grammar because she was very good at it. Miguel brought English songs for them to listen to and discuss, which made the lessons more fun. Sophia suggested small presentations so that each one could practice speaking in public. Lucas loved these study sessions. He felt that his classmates supported him and helped him grow. Whenever he made a mistake, his friends would gently correct him and encourage him to try again. "We are all learning," Anna would say. "It's okay to make mistakes." With the support of his classmates, Lucas began to feel more comfortable speaking English. He felt less alone and more motivated to keep going. He knew that together, they could learn faster and in a more enjoyable way. After weeks of studying and practice, Lucas felt that he was ready for a new challenge. He wanted to test his English in a real-life situation. So, one day, he decided to go to the city center, where many tourists often walked around. He wandered there, looking for someone he could practice with. Finally, he saw a tourist looking at a map with a confused expression. Lucas felt his heart beat faster, but he decided it was time to try. He slowly approached and said, "Excuse me, do you need help?" The tourist smiled and replied, "Yes, please. I'm looking for the train station." Lucas listened carefully and tried to remember the directions in English that he had learned. "Go straight and turn left at the next street. The train station is on your right," he said. The tourist thanked him and went on his way. Lucas stood still for a moment, unable to believe that he had just helped a tourist in English. He felt very proud of himself. "I did it," he thought, smiling. After this experience, he realized that he didn't need to speak English perfectly to communicate. He just needed to be brave and try. Every conversation was an opportunity to learn more. Lucas went home that day feeling more confident than ever. He knew he still had a lot to learn, but this small victory gave him a huge motivation to keep going. Despite improving, Lucas still had one big fear: speaking English in public. He always got nervous when he had to speak in front of others. One day, the teacher, Mr. Brown, announced that everyone would have to give a 5-minute presentation in English on a topic of their choice. Lucas felt a knot in his stomach. "How am I going to speak for 5 minutes in front of everyone?" he thought. In the days that followed, Lucas tried to avoid thinking about the presentation, but he knew he needed to prepare. His classmates, Anna, Miguel, and Sophia, noticed he was worried. "Don't worry, Lucas," said Miguel. "We are all nervous, but we're in this together." Sophia suggested they practice together. "Let's give our presentations to the group first. That way, we can help each other." Lucas thought it was a good idea and agreed. During practice, he stumbled and forgot some words, but his friends supported him. "You're doing well. Keep going," Anna said, smiling. On the day of the presentation, Lucas was very nervous, but he remembered his friend's words. When his turn came, he took a deep breath, looked at the class, and began. At first, his voice was shaky, but little by little, he started to feel more confident. He finished his presentation with a smile and was applauded by everyone. After class, Mr. Brown praised Lucas. "You did a great job, Lucas. This is how you learn, by facing your fears." Lucas realized that even though he was nervous, he was able to overcome his fear and improve his skills. After the presentation, Lucas felt a great relief and also a sense of pride. He realized that facing his fears made him grow. In the following weeks, Lucas continued to practice speaking English, using every opportunity he found. He spoke with tourists in the park, participated actively in class, and even helped new students at the English school feel more comfortable. Mr. Brown noticed Lucas's effort and called him after class. "Lucas, I've noticed how much you've been dedicating yourself. You have improved a lot," said Mr. Brown. "I'd like to invite you to participate in a special event at the school. We will have an English language day, where students can share their learning experiences. I think your story would inspire many people." Lucas was excited, but the fear of speaking to a larger group returned. However, he remembered his previous presentation and how he overcame his fear. He accepted the invitation and started preparing for the event. On the day of the event, Lucas shared his journey of learning English, from his early challenges to his small victories. He talked about how his friends and the support of the class helped him improve. As he spoke, he noticed that everyone was listening carefully, and he saw some new students smiling and nodding, as if they were relating to his story. When Lucas finished, he was met with applause. Some students approached him to thank him for his words and for showing that, even with difficulties, it is possible to learn and grow. Lucas smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had not only overcome his fear of speaking in public, but had also helped others on their journey. After months of practice and dedication, Lucas felt he was ready to fulfill his dream. He had saved money, and with his much improved English, he decided it was time to visit London. His friends from the English school were very happy for him and supported his decision. "You're going to do great, Lucas. Enjoy every moment," Anna said excitedly. On the day of the trip, Lucas felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. When the plane landed in London, he looked out the window and saw the city's famous cloudy sky. "I'm really here," he thought, filled with emotion. In the first few days, Lucas explored the city with a map in hand. He visited Big Ben, Tower Bridge, Buckingham Palace, and many other places he had always wanted to see. But what he enjoyed most was talking to people. He met people from different countries and cultures in cafes, museums, and parks. He had the chance to use all the English he had learned and, more importantly, realized he felt confident in his conversations. One evening, while sitting by the Thames River, looking at the lights of London reflecting on the water, Lucas reflected on his journey. He thought about all the challenges he faced, the fear of speaking in public, the first words he mispronounced, and the conversations he had with strangers. Each experience had led him to that moment, where he felt like a part of a bigger world. Lucas knew he still had much to learn, but he felt proud of everything he had accomplished. He realized that learning a language is not just about speaking the words correctly, but about connecting with different people and cultures. At that moment, he felt truly grateful for never giving up. When his trip ended, Lucas returned home with more confidence and a new outlook on life. He knew this was just the first of many adventures. The dream of visiting London had come true, but his desire to keep learning and exploring the world was only just beginning. Thank you for watching Lucas's story. See you in the next story. Goodbye.